Hello and welcome to Health Coach in a Box. I'm your health coach, Amaya Antoinette, and I'm so excited and grateful that you have joined me today because, like I always say, you could have been anywhere else, but you decided to come spend some time with me. So I do not take that lightly. Today, we are diving into strategies to help you beat stress. Okay. So, first of all, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because we know stress kills, right? We know stress is like just we don't want it, right? We know that when we're highly stressed or chronically stressed, right, that it can create illnesses in the body, chronic disease, right? Feeling of dis-ease in our body, right? So it's really important to be mindful about managing our stress, but stress can be inevitable. We have so many demands on our time, our job, our career, our families, trying to take care of our self-care, all the things, right? So I'm really hoping that this video can support you in find a way to just cope with stress, right? Because stress isn't, I wouldn't say always bad. Sometimes stress gets you going. You're like, hey, okay, I got to get this done, right? I got to finish this. It can motivate you, right? But when we are chronically stressed, that is when the disease and issue sets in. And we really want to avoid that, right? As much as possible. And I was thinking about when I was working in corporate, how sometimes I would be so stressed, but things I would do to support me in managing that stress. Now, let me preface it by saying, if you work in a very toxic environment, no matter what you do, it can be really difficult to manage your stress in that way because toxicity, I say, kills too, right? So evaluate where you are, right? Evaluate your career, your job, whatever the case may be. But if you feel like you work in a pretty decent place, right, and you just have to deal with like normal stresses, this can really support you. If you work somewhere where it's super toxic and a lot of passive aggressiveness and things going on, like, I don't know what to tell you, right? May have to just change locations, right? But for everyone else, this will be helpful. So tip number one is to set boundaries. So one of the things that I did when I worked in corporate, and let me just give a little background. So I worked in a corporate business, and I was remote though. I was remote, and I led a team of health coaches. So you know my story. Like I used to work for a really popular company doing health coaching, and then I moved through the ranks and I became a coach leader, and then I supported my coaches with coaching their clients and all that good stuff. So I had a lot to do, right? And I remember when I went into management, like the stress was different because I not only had to make sure my workload was taken care of, I had to support my team and making sure they were coaching, the most appropriate and effective ways to make sure their clients were getting results and supporting them and their well-being, right? So it was a lot. And I had to make some shifts, right? So one thing I did was really enforce boundaries, like really set boundaries, right? Because one thing I did not want to do was compromise my health. I didn't want to compromise my health and my well-being. And one of the things that was important to me was, working out and eating right and spending time with my daughter because she was homeschooled, she's homeschooled. So I wanted to make sure I could be available to her when she woke up. And sometimes literally I would be stressed, like, oh, is someone going to put a meeting on my calendar this day and then I won't be able to say Verizon to my daughter when she wakes up? Or I was planning to work out at this time just for like maybe 10 minutes, like no reason to take like a whole break, but will someone throw a meeting on my calendar, during that time? So I began to set boundaries, right? And a part of that is managing your calendar. So one of the things that I did, I made sure that I set my calendar where I would not have meetings before a certain time. I would be like, hey, if you need to meet with me at this time, just shoot me a message and we can talk about it and see if I could, shift some things around. If not, we'll have to meet at a later time. But I made sure that I did not take meetings before a certain time so that I could ease into my day, right? So that I could be available to my daughter when she woke up and not have to be in a meeting and feel like I can't stop and say hello to my daughter. Like that is crazy, right? So I wanted to mitigate stress as much as possible. So that's one step I took. I just say, hey, no meetings before this time. Another thing I did was I would schedule thinking time, right? So as a busy professional, as like someone who has a lot on their plate, a lot of to do, a lot of deadlines, people that you may be managing, presentations that you have to do, projects that you have to get done, it's always like do. It's always go. It's always things got to get done. I'm moving into the next thing. I'm going from one meeting to the next, and got to prep for this, and then do this, and then I'm done. And like, it's a lot, right? And that is stressful. That is extremely stressful, especially when that is like your day to day, right? So one of the things that I did was I would schedule thinking time on my calendar. I literally will put thinking time every day on my calendar for 30 to 45 minutes. Yes, because that was time that I could slow down and just think and connect the dots and think about how I want to move forward, to think about what I want to do next, to think about how I can get better. How can I improve? Maybe I was having a situation with somebody on my team. I'm thinking about how can I best approach this situation, right? Like, it literally gave me time to think, and it helped me not to be reactive. It gave me time to be responsive when situations would come up, because I'm like, hey, I know I have time to think about that tomorrow. So I'm going to think about it tomorrow and get back to you in that the next evening or the next afternoon, right? So that helped me, like, setting those boundaries. Right. And if you don't set boundaries for yourself, people are not going to set them for you. Right. They're going to just keep coming to you and keep giving you stuff to do and keep asking more of you. They don't care. Like, it's not that people are trying to be mean or rude, but self-interest, right? That's just the way it goes. So you have to make sure you are setting those boundaries for yourself. Right. And another thing I did as far as setting boundaries, we're in this age of, remote work, and you can be accessible to someone at a drop of a dime, right? On your phone, right? On Slack, right? Emails coming through. And one thing I did, at first, I didn't do this. At first, I was like responding to Slack messages from my team, even when I was done with work, because it didn't seem like it was that much. It didn't seem like I was like giving too much of myself to just send a quick response, while I'm cooking dinner or hanging out with my daughter. You know what I mean? But after a while, it became like, this feels like it's too much, like it's no space, and then people start having that expectation that you are going to respond to them after hours. No, honey. So what I did, I stopped responding to messages after my working time. And I would let my team know, like, hey, okay, I'll be hopping offline in about the next 30 minutes. If you send me a message, I'm right now, I'm wrapping up some things. So if it's not like urgent, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I literally said that. So that took the stress off of me of feeling like I had to respond. Sometimes like you're trying to end your day and then like people are still reaching out to you, like, oh my gosh, I have like 2 minutes. They're still messaging me, right? So I would let them know, like, hey, so I would shut it down before I even got off, right? So I had time to wrap up my day, to plan for the next day, right? And that's not technically a tip I put on here, but to plan your day like the day before, instead of walking into work and being like, okay, what do I need to do? That is stressful, right? Being able to be prepared mitigates stress. Right. So those are some of the things that I did to really set those boundaries with my team, and to help enforce and reduce stress. Right. I learned on the job. When I was getting stressed, I was like, okay, what do I have to change? What do I have to where do I have to pivot? Right. I'm all about improving and shifting as necessary. Right. Okay, strategy number 2 to really help you beat stress, right? To mitigate stress and chronic stress. That's what we're really talking about, because you're going to deal with some stress, right? Stress is normal, but we want to mitigate that chronic stress. Work out. You got to move your body. You got to move your body. There's no other way. There's no way around it. Move your body. Like, I would notice that if I didn't get in like a workout, especially during my most hectic times, oh my goodness, I couldn't, my brain was all over the place. My stress levels were high, right? And sometimes, you may plan in your mind, hey, I'm going to work out, but then something pops up and then something else pops up, and then the day leaves and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm too exhausted, right? And for me, like, I knew I couldn't really work out in the evening because it would affect my sleep. So that's not true for everyone, but for me, when I worked out, like after maybe 4, sometimes like maybe 4, 3:34, like, I had the hardest time going to sleep. My body was still amped up. So I had to work out earlier in the day. And if meetings popped up, somebody needed me, I just wouldn't get it done. So I had to literally start making sure it was in my day, right? And one thing I did that I found super helpful, maybe you'll find this helpful, is I okay, I'm super organized and I like to plan. I'm a planner and I'm organized. So one thing I would do is I created a Google Doc. And so I like this couple. They work out on YouTube. They have all these workout videos on YouTube. And they're called Juice and Toya. So if you haven't checked them out because they have a ton of awesome videos, right? So I will find videos that maybe are like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 45 minutes, depending on how much time I had. But I created like a Google Doc and I would basically list the workouts, list the videos. So if I go today, I'm like, okay, I got 10 minutes today to get in a quick workout, or I have 30 minutes today. I literally look and pick the video and then I'll be ready to go. The thing is, we don't want to spend too much time trying to think. So say if you're like, hey, I'm going to work out and I have 30 minutes, but then you spend 15 minutes trying to figure out what you're going to do. That's not making the best use of your time, right? And I know that we're all about being efficient with our time and being productive and getting things done. So being able to carve out time to literally come up with the little cheat sheet of workouts you can do depending on the amount of time you have available can really serve you well in your day to day to make sure you're getting your workout. And then don't overthink it. You don't have to work out for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. If you have 15 minutes, that is good. And it helps. It just helps you to calm down. It helps you to feel more empowered, right? It helps you to feel more prepared for whatever it is you got to face when you get in a good workout, right? So it's not just about, how you look, how to work out, make your body look. Yeah, that's a side effect, right? A byproduct of being consistent with working out. But think about the mental benefits. Working out, exercising your body mitigates stress. It reduces stress. The science is out there, right? I don't even have to bring that here. The science is out there, right? So really think about how you can incorporate working out into your day to support you with mitigating chronic stress, right? And then the last tip I have is to incorporate an unprocessed diet. This is what my Health Coach in a Box program is all about, right? It's Health Coach in a Box, unprocess your diet. It walks you through literally how to unprocess your diet step by step, right? And it's really important to be mindful about the foods you put in your body because it directly affects your energy. It directly affects your ability to focus, your mental clarity, right? It directly affects it. You are what you eat. That's not some like cute saying. It is true. You are literally what you eat. And even I would notice, like, if I ate something that maybe wasn't like the greatest for me, I wouldn't feel great in my body. I just wouldn't. Therefore, I didn't perform as well. I didn't think as well, right? But I was committed to having certain things like most days, right? Like I would make sure my lunches were made. I would make sure I, get in a smoothie. I make sure I have my healthy snacks on deck, right? Like, because that stuff literally helps me to have more energy and more clarity. Like, I would see, like, colleagues of mine who were just always exhausted, couldn't think, couldn't focus. And I wanted to ask, like, what did you eat today? Right? Like, what is in your body? Because that really matters. Like, and even like half of the foods out there that are super processed, half of them aren't even foods. They are food-like products. It's affecting you on so many different levels, right? It's affecting your quality of health. It's affecting your ability to focus, your ability to think, your ability to have the energy that you need to get through your day, because you at work, you getting things done, but then you have other obligations, right? You have family life, you have friends, you have community obligations, you may be working on a business, like you have a lot on you. So you want to make sure your energy is high. Like one thing that I really love about having a really clean diet is that I do have a lot of energy. Like, of course I get tired because I'm doing a lot, right? But I still have a lot of energy to get a lot done. Like I get up most like every day, almost maybe like 4 or 5 o'clock, and I'm up the whole day getting things done, ready to go, right? So if I was eating Chick-fil-A every day or other foods or other things, right, I'm sure I would not have the same level of energy. So really just take the time to assess your diet. And if you need support with unprocessing your diet, like check out the Health Coach in a Box. I will be sharing information as that program becomes available, but that's the program that you want to get into if you're like, hey, where do I start? How do I unprocess my diet? How do I start to eat healthier? What do I need to do? I don't even know where to start. I got you. I got you. I got you. So I hope you found that helpful. Thank you so much for coming to spend some time with me. I hope you got something out of this that can really support you with mitigating stress levels, because we have to bring it down. We have to bring the stress down. Stress is like, it's death. Chronic stress equals death. Chronic stress elevates the cortisol in the body. It creates inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation causes disease in the body, right? So it's all connected. It's all connected. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until next time, peace.